From rug pulls nobody saw coming to unexpectedly clever and satisfying twists, these reveals were far more fun, interesting, and just plain ridiculous than the otherwise forgettable or even downright awful film preceding it. And that is what kept our asses in our seats. Gareth here from Whatculture.com, and here are 10 movie reveals that stopped you from walking out. Number 10, Lucinda is in on the con, Derailed. Let's kick things off with the watchable yet mostly forgettable thriller Derailed, which centers around an advertising exec, Charles Sheen, who embarks on an extramarital affair with a similarly married woman, Lucinda Harris. Charles is eventually blackmailed by a man named Philippe LaRoche, who has kidnapped Lucinda and promises to kill her if he doesn't pay up $100,000, which Charles promptly does by taking the money from an account funding his daughter's medical treatment. Pretty typical erotic thriller fare that doesn't merit much of your attention, right? But at this point, Charles heads to Lucinda's work and finds that she actually goes by the name of Jane, before discovering that a picture of her daughter she showed to him was actually cut out from a brochure. And then the penny finally drops. Charlie tracks Jane down and spots her kissing LaRoche, confirming that she was in on the con from the very beginning. It's a twist that relies on the audience's overall perception of Jennifer Aniston. She very rarely plays villains, and is far from the most natural fit for a femme fatale. As such, it comes as a genuine shock, all the more so as Jane is then shot and killed during a climactic gunfight between Charles and LaRoche. Number 9, Jamie stabs Darlene, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Halloween 4 is far from the worst entry into the series and has enjoyed greater cult appreciation in recent years, but it's nevertheless pretty lackluster compared to the first two Halloween movies. With all the hype about Michael Myers' return to the screen after sitting out anthology sequel Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Halloween 4 suffered immensely from a script which was slung together in just 11 days. Perhaps most criminally, it killed Laurie Strode off-screen and replaced her with her daughter Jamie Lloyd. Though Danielle Harris gives a solid performance as Jamie, it's a slog at even just 88 minutes, with Michael taking far too long to do anything, and the story getting excessively bogged down in dull melodramatic subplots. Michael is seemingly killed by a lynch mob at film's end, and just as you probably feel like you've had enough of the movie, it drops one hell of a last-minute twist in your lap. Jamie is taken back home and attacks her foster mother Darlene with a pair of scissors while wearing a clown costume and mask, in a manner immediately reminiscent of her young uncle in the original Halloween. It's a brilliant and wildly unexpected twist which touted a provocative new direction for the series, albeit one which the next film soundly disregarded. Number 8, Rogue is Tom Lone, War. 2007's War spends the bulk of its runtime failing to deliver on the promises of a hard-boiled action thriller in which Jason Statham and Jet Li square off against one another. Statham plays FBI agent John Crawford, who seeks revenge against the mysterious assassin Rogue, played by Jet Li, who apparently killed Crawford's partner Tom Lone along with his family. But this dead ordinary revenge thriller gets a totally bonkers boost of adrenaline in its final 10 minutes, when it's revealed that the quote-unquote Rogue is actually Tom Lone himself. Flashbacks reveal that the real Rogue did indeed attack Lone's house and kill his family, but Lone managed to overpower and kill Rogue before surgically altering his appearance to steal Rogue's identity. Oh, and the reason that the real Rogue was able to track down Lone in the first place? Crawford was blackmailed into providing his address, prompting Lone to shoot his former partner and escape. The ending leaving it ambiguous whether Crawford survived or not. Boy, that escalated quickly, huh? Number 7, Karen goes back to Rick, The Last American Virgin. For a solid 98% of its runtime, The Last American Virgin is a pretty typical 80s boner comedy filled with gratuitous nudity, juvenile jokes, and a perfunctory abortion subplot, the latter being surprisingly commonplace in comedies of this era. All the same, this is a what you see is what you get rom-com, right? We fully expect the film to end with high schooler Gary getting the girl of his dreams, his cute classmate Karen. Even when Karen gets pregnant by Gary's sexist pig of a friend Rick, it's Gary who sticks by her and even pays for her abortion by selling his belongings and borrowing cash from his boss. Gary and Karen seemingly grow closer together as the film reaches its end, with Gary declaring his love for her, the pair sharing a kiss, and Karen inviting Gary to her 18th birthday party. Right, we all know where this is going. Why even bother tuning in for the treacly happy ending? But when an elated Gary arrives at the party, he walks in on Karen and Rick making out. A devastated Gary promptly leaves the party, drives home in tears, and the end credits roll. That's it. Nobody could have seen such an unexpected yet believably brutal end coming. This was a cold bucket of water to the face for audiences, and 2 defiant middle fingers up at Hollywood's tendency towards saccharine, implausible romance. Number 6, Gabriel is Madison's parasitic twin, Malignant. Oh, Malignant, man. James Wan's horror film is, for the first 75% of its runtime, a dreadfully dull horror film / police procedural, or if you want to be charitable to one, a self-aware parody of one. Either way, it's chock full of wooden acting, stilted dialogue, and drab predictable scares. Enough that you couldn't be blamed for tuning out before the 3rd act. But those who stick it out to the end are soundly rewarded with one of the most bonkers plot twists in recent cinematic history. As it turns out, Gabriel, the serial killer rampaging in the vicinity of protagonist Madison, is actually Madison's own parasitic conjoined twin. Yep. Most of Gabriel was surgically removed from Madison in childhood, but a vestigial part remained due to it being connected to her brain. Double yep. And so when Madison's abusive husband gives her a head injury at the start of the film, it sets Gabriel free, allowing him to effectively hijack Madison's body and carry out the killings. And because Gabriel is attached to the back of Madison's head, he's only able to control her backwards, explaining why Gabriel's movements throughout the film look so jerky and unnatural. It's a boldly insane reveal that perked just about everybody up, ending the film on a certifiably nuts final section as Gabriel embarks on a gory rampage through a police station. Did this insane skull-cracking twist keep you glued to Malignant? Or were you already onto your next slice of horror at that point? Let me know in the comment section down below, folks. Number 5, Dracula is actually Judas, Dracula 2000. There's no two ways about it. Dracula 2000 is freaking trash. A gothic horror film so aggressively influenced by turn-of-the-century new metal and post-Matrix fashion choices that it almost graduates to self-parody. But if you make it close to the end of the movie, there's one genuinely intriguing plot twist lying in wait. It's eventually revealed that Dracula's real identity is Judas Iscariot, and he was cursed by God to live eternity as a vampire for betraying Jesus. More to the point, the twist also explains Dracula's odd aversion to silver throughout the movie. It was part of the curse due to Judas accepting 30 pieces of silver to betray Jesus. Again, Dracula 2000 isn't a good movie at all, but suggesting that Judas was the original vampire is a genuinely creative and intriguing twist on traditional vampire lore, enough that it clearly belonged in a much, much better film. Number 4, Esther is Dead, Orphan First Kill. Many groaned when a prequel to 2009's deliciously entertaining horror film Orphan was first announced, especially given that lead actress Isabel Fuhrman was now well over a decade older, seemingly making the prequel a pretty awkward fit. And while First Kill's first hour suggests a pretty typical forgettable horror prequel, whose attempts to make Fuhrman's appearance consistent with the previous film are laughable at best, things take a seriously unexpected turn at the end of Act 2. The film details Lena/Esther escaping from an Estonian psych ward and assuming the identity of missing American girl Esther, where she's reunited with her family, mother Trisha, father Alan, and brother Gunnar. Yet the hugely unexpected twist sees Trisha save Esther from a detective who discovers her deception, shooting him dead. Trisha then reveals she's known Lena wasn't her daughter from the beginning. Why? Because the real Esther died 4 years prior in an argument with Gunnar, and Trisha faked Esther's disappearance to protect her son while keeping her husband firmly in the dark. It's such a clever and genuinely surprising holy crap moment in a movie that's so unremarkable up to this point, gamely rearranging the chessboard for the 3rd act as Esther discovers she's got a scheming femme fatale for an adoptive mother. Number 3, Massimo has a secret twin brother, 365 Days This Day. Granted, Netflix's original Polish erotic thriller film 365 Days was so dreadful and dreadfully problematic that you can only really blame yourself for bothering to watch its sequel 365 Days This Day. But after an hour or so of embarrassingly bad dialogue and toe-curlingly awkward sex scenes, the sequel drops a plot twist so gloriously telenovela-worthy, it surely stopped many from turning the movie off. Midway through the story, we learn that mobster Massimo has an evil identity identical twin brother Adriano, who has sex with a woman in front of Massimo's wife Laura to make her believe that he's been unfaithful. Yep. To call it hilarious is an understatement, especially as the film has the impressive goal to play the big reveal totally straight, rather than ever bothering to wink at the audience. It may be thunderously dumb, but it's also the kind of car crash stupid you can't help but keep watching in slack-jawed awe. Number 2, The Devil is the Old Woman. Devil. 2010's horror film Devil touts a deliciously appealing premise. A group of 5 strangers are trapped inside of an elevator, one of whom is the devil in disguise, and secretly killing the others off one by one. Yet ultimately little interesting is done with this conceptually intriguing supernatural whodunit, which at least has the good sense to wrap up within a tight 80 minutes, enough that you probably stuck around for its genuinely diverting final gotcha. It's eventually revealed that the devil is the most unexpected of the 5 strangers, an elderly woman who was seemingly killed by the devil at the end of the second act. As it turns out, this was all a devilish ruse, as the old woman stands back up at the end of the movie, her eyes pitch black, revealing her diabolical true nature. The devil has spent the movie claiming the lives of the elevator's sinful occupants, and it's ultimately only Tony who survives after confessing his role in a fatal accident 5 years prior, in turn repenting for his actions and leaving the devil unable to claim his soul. At the end of a disappointingly flat, over-familiar mystery horror film, Devil at least delivered a genuinely jolting final rug pull. Number 1, Tom is Guilty, High Crimes. High Crimes is one of the several absurd Ashley Judd starring crime thrillers released around the year 2000, with Judd playing Claire Kubik, whose husband Tom is arrested by the FBI for allegedly taking part in a military operation in El Salvador, which led to the deaths of 9 unarmed civilians. Tom admits this all to Claire, except claims that he was only present during the murders and didn't actively take part in them. As Claire and fellow attorney Charlie Grimes defend Tom in court, it becomes agonizingly clear that there's a conspiracy to cover up the truth and frame Tom for the massacre. Pretty standard played out fair for the courtroom drama genre basically. Or is it? In the end we learn the shocking truth, that Tom was indeed guilty of all the murders and even killed witnesses years before being arrested. At film's end, Tom attacks Claire after realizing he's been rumbled, resulting in him being shot and killed. Sometimes a movie feels generic and familiar enough to set your expectations through the damn floor, only to swing back around and deliver a genuinely exciting twist. That's one way to do it, I suppose.